just your thoughts on it. I know you guys put out a good piece a while back, but maybe a more sober view of the dollar's role in the world economy.
Yes, you hit the nail on the head. You know, sensationalism sells, especially on Twitter. People move in packs, and I would even go so far as to say like people move in packs like hyenas. It's no long, to a large degree. These bigger accounts, it's not even about truth or like data driven analysis. It's just about what's going to get the most clicks, what's the coolest headline I can make, and it totally grinds my gears. And in the case of something like commercial real estate, where there actually are risks posed to this thing, it warrants a little bit more, sensational adjectives and language. But this idea of the death of the dollar, not even remotely true or backed by the data. And this idea has been floating. I know that several bigger accounts, Genevieve Rock Dector, I believe, was one of them, who tweeted out that the dollar is losing its status as world reserve currency. And that just that was absolutely nuts and not supported by the data whatsoever. People tend to conflate the value of a currency with its status as a world reserve currency in FX reserves, and they're not the same thing. When people say the dollar is losing its status as world reserve currency, more often than not, they're just saying world reserve currency because they don't really know what it means, but they know that the dollar is losing its value because there is price inflation, and relative to asset prices, the dollar is falling, and so therefore the dollar is not going to be used to lubricate global trade anymore. But that's not even remotely the case, right? The value of a currency has nothing to do with its prominence in FX reserves. And we wrote a piece exactly about this. The dollar is so entrenched in global financial markets. It's so entrenched in global trade that it's not something you can unplug and plug back in. And if you were going to do that, why on earth would you? All currencies are debasing just like the dollar, right? So the argument that, well, the dollar is debasing, so therefore it's
Yeah.
not gonna be what lubricates global trade anymore. Well, guess what? So is every other fiat currency. Not only does the dollar do its job, but it's the most liquid currency in the world. And when you are lubricating global trade, you're dealing with trillions in flows every single day. Then that's what you want. You want a good medium of exchange. And what does that mean? That means a huge liquidity profile. And nothing challenges the dollar's liquidity profile. It's doing its job exactly as it needs to. And when it comes to a world reserve currency, people will often point to, well, what about BRICS? What about this? What about that? What about this? Okay, a group of nations, right? What are they going to do? Are they all going to jointly upend the dollar's hegemony? Are they jointly all going to stop using the dollar? That's awesome. You can stop using the dollar. But then what does that mean? You all have to fight amongst yourselves as to whose currency you're going to use. Obviously, Russia wants it to be theirs, and China wants it to be theirs, and India wants it to be theirs. And then when you do that, you have to deal exclusively in that. And who's to say everybody else on the world, everybody else on the planet is going to agree that they're going to accept your currency for trade? It just doesn't work, right? We hit the jackpot, right, with Bretton Woods. The fact that now the dollar lubricates all global trade. We are the main world reserve currency. There are several world reserve currencies. People think there is only one. This is not the case, right? It's a term that people love throwing around. It's Twitter's favorite buzzword as of now. But we hit the jackpot because we plugged in this cartridge, and now this massive, intricate web of interconnected financial relationships has been built atop the dollar. And that's not something that can be unplugged, right? Barring the Armageddon of the United States and the United States Treasury and like the total nuclear annihilation of the country, the United States of America, the dollar isn't going anywhere. On a relative basis, all fiat are debasing. To actually judge the prominence of a world reserve currency as a world reserve currency, look at reserves, look at FX
Hmm.
reserves of countries. And the thing that I will leave it on is that world currency composition of foreign exchange reserves, the dollar has only gone up. It's been sitting at roughly 55%. The dollar makes up 55% of all world central bank foreign exchange reserves over the last 20 years. So it has not declined. And actually, since 2014, it has been increasing, right? So in 2014, it fell to about 45%, and it's been increasing, right? Over the last decade, it's risen from 45% to 55 to 60%. So if the dollar was losing its world reserve currency status, then why are more dollars being a component of FX reserves? I think this whole nonsense about the dollar losing its world reserve currency status are just people trying to get clicks, but they don't actually understand what makes a world reserve currency or what makes the dollar the prominent world reserve currency, or how difficult and impractical it would be to replace it in all of the world's financial plumbing, or the fact that there literally is no impetus to do it. And
Yeah.
sorry to go on a bit of a rant there, but that's all my thoughts about this whole thing. The dollar isn't
No,
dying; it's only growing in use.